Admiral Kyle Morrison stood in the middle of a room that could have held a football stadium. The walls were made of some kind of crystal that glowed with soft blue light. Above him, the ceiling stretched so high he could barely see it. Giant alien guards surrounded him, each one twice his height and covered in armor that sparkled like diamonds. Their weapons hummed with deadly energy. Morrison had seen many things in his 30 years of military service, but nothing like this. The Zephyrian Empire's flagship was more like a floating city than a spaceship. Everything here was designed to make visitors feel small and powerless. The message was clear: you are nothing compared to us. The other members of the human delegation stood behind Morrison. There was Dr. Rachel Green, Earth's top scientist. Next to her was Ambassador Peter Wells, who had spent his whole career trying to make peace with hostile aliens. All of them looked nervous except Morrison. He had learned long ago that showing fear only made bullies stronger. A low sound filled the room like thunder rolling across the sky. The air in front of Morrison began to shimmer and twist. Slowly, a figure appeared. It was tall and thin, made of the same crystal material as the ship's walls. This was Emperor Vextar, ruler of half the galaxy, human. The Emperor's voice echoed from everywhere at once. You stand before the throne of the Zephyrian Empire. For 3,000 years, we have brought order to this galaxy. Hundreds of worlds bow before our power. Today, we offer your primitive species the same choice we have given all others. Morrison kept his face blank. He had practiced this moment 1,000 times. We're listening, he said simply. The Emperor's crystal form pulsed with brighter light. Your world will surrender completely. Your military will be dissolved. Your people will serve the Empire as workers and soldiers. In return, we will allow your species to survive. Dr. Green stepped forward. And if we refuse? The Emperor turned his attention to her. Morrison could feel the aliens' power pressing down on them like a weight. Then your world burns. We have done this many times before. Planets that resist us become examples for others. Would you like to see what happened to the last world that said no to us? The air filled with images. Cities turned to glass. Oceans boiling away. Billions of people simply gone. Morrison had seen the intelligence reports about these destroyed worlds, but seeing it happen was different. It made his stomach turn. You have 72 hours, the Emperor continued. Send word to your leaders. Tell them what you have seen here. Tell them that resistance is impossible. Our fleet has never been defeated. Our weapons can destroy stars. Your ships are powered by simple fusion reactors. Your weapons are metal bullets and basic energy beams. You are children playing with toys. Ambassador Wells tried to speak. Perhaps we could discuss terms that would benefit both our peoples. There are no terms, the Emperor cut him off. There is only surrender or death. Choose wisely. Morrison finally spoke again. Our leaders will need to see proof of your power before they make such an important decision. The Emperor seemed amused. Look around you, human. This single ship could destroy your entire fleet. But if you need a demonstration, the crystal being gestured and new images appeared in the air. They showed the Zephyrian fleet arranged around Earth's solar system. 300 massive ships, each one the size of a city. We are already in position. When your time runs out, the bombardment begins. Dr. Green was studying the images carefully. Morrison knew she was memorizing every detail about the alien ships. That information might be useful later if there was a later. How do we contact our government? Morrison asked. Your ship is still docked in our hangar bay. You may return to it and send your message. But remember, human, any attempt to flee or call for military assistance will result in immediate attack. We are watching everything you do. The Emperor's form began to fade. 72 hours. Use them well. They may be the last hours your species ever has. The guards motioned for the humans to leave. Morrison led his team through corridors that seemed to go on forever. Everything was huge and bright and alien. It was designed to make them feel helpless. When they finally reached their small ship, Morrison waited until they were safely inside before speaking. Did everyone get what they needed? Dr. Green nodded. I counted the ships. I saw their weapon systems. They're telling the truth about their power. Those ships could turn Earth into a dead rock. Ambassador Wells sat down heavily. They've done this hundreds of times. They have it down to a science. Threaten, demonstrate power, accept surrender. But something's different this time, Morrison said quietly. They don't know about the Titan. The others looked at him. For the past 15 years, Earth's greatest scientists and engineers had been working on a secret project. They had found something in the outer solar system, a derelict alien ship from a species that no longer existed. The technology inside had changed everything. Captain Martinez should be getting her orders right about now, Morrison continued. All we have to do is buy her time to get here. Dr. Green looked worried. Kyle, that ship destroyed entire fleets. What makes you think one human vessel, even the Titan, can stand against 300 alien warships? Morrison smiled for the first time since boarding the alien flagship. Because we're not just bringing one human ship. We're bringing something these aliens thought they had destroyed forever. We're bringing hope. He activated the ship's communication system. Time to send a message to Earth that would fool the aliens but tell his own people everything they needed to know. The next 72 hours would determine whether humanity lived free or died fighting. Outside their small ship, the massive alien fleet waited like sleeping giants. Soon they would learn that humans were not like the other species they had conquered. Soon they would discover that some prey bite back. Morrison began composing his message. Every word had to be perfect. Earth's survival depended on it. Admiral Kethmore stood on the bridge of his command ship, watching the human solar system spread out before him. The Zephyrian fleet hung in space like a metal storm cloud, 300 vessels arranged in perfect attack formation. Each ship was a masterpiece of alien engineering, powered by antimatter cores and armed with weapons that could crack planets. This was how the Empire always did things. Arrive with overwhelming force. Make the threat clear. Accept surrender. It had worked for 3,000 years across hundreds of worlds. These humans would be no different. Admiral, his sensor officer called out, we're detecting a single human vessel approaching from the outer system. Kethmore's crystalline features shifted in what passed for amusement among his species. One ship? Are they bringing us their surrender in person? The bridge crew made sounds that were like laughter. After seeing the pitiful human technology, they found it funny that anyone would challenge their fleet with a single vessel. Human ships were primitive things, barely capable of faster-than-light travel. Bring it up on the main display, Kethmore ordered. The view screen shimmered and showed empty space. Then something dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system. What appeared made the laughter stop immediately. The ship was enormous. It stretched nearly 4 kilometers from nose to tail, dwarfing even the largest Zephyrian battleships. Its hull was a dark metal that seemed to bend light around it, making it hard to look at directly. Strange energy patterns danced along its surface like living lightning. Run a full sensor sweep, Kethmore commanded, his voice suddenly serious. The sensor operator worked frantically at his controls. Admiral, I'm getting readings that don't make sense. The hull composition is unknown. The power signature is impossible. What do you mean impossible? Sir, the ship appears to be powered by a controlled singularity. A black hole. That technology is theoretical even for us. Kethmore felt something he hadn't experienced in centuries of conquest. Uncertainty. Are you certain of these readings? I've run the scan 3 times, sir. That ship is using technology we don't understand. On the human vessel, Captain Lisa Martinez stood on the bridge of the U.S. Titan. Around her, 3,000 crew members worked at stations that hummed with alien technology. The ship was humanity's greatest achievement, but it was also their greatest gamble. Captain, her communications officer called out. We're receiving a transmission from Admiral Morrison. He reports the delegation is safe aboard the alien flagship. Martinez nodded. Morrison was buying them time just as planned. How long until we reach optimal firing position? Commander Ryan Clark, her chief engineer, checked his displays. 15 minutes, Captain. All systems are showing green. The singularity core is stable. Martinez looked around her bridge. These people had volunteered for a mission that might save humanity or destroy it. Each one knew they might not see Earth again. Yet their faces showed determination, not fear. Dr. Amy Foster, the ship's lead scientist, approached the captain's chair. She was the woman who had figured out how to make the alien technology work. Without her, the Titan would have been impossible. Captain, I want to remind you about the Kethari defensive systems, Dr. Foster said quietly. The aliens who built this technology fought the Zephyrians for 100 years before they were destroyed. Every system on this ship was designed specifically to counter Zephyrian weapons. Will it work? Martinez asked. In theory, yes. But we're about to find out if theory matches reality. Back on the Zephyrian flagship, Admiral Kethmore was growing more concerned by the minute. His tactical computers couldn't find any weakness in the approaching human ship. Its design was unlike anything in their databases. "Sir," the communications officer announced, "the human vessel is requesting to speak with you. Put them through." The main screen changed to show the bridge of the human ship. Kethmore found himself looking at a woman with short brown hair and calm eyes. She wore a simple uniform with captain's insignia. Behind her, he could see a bridge that looked like it belonged in a science fantasy, not on a primitive human vessel. "I am Captain Lisa Martinez of the United Earth ship Titan," the woman said. Her voice was steady and confident. "You have threatened my world. That was a mistake." Kethmore's shock gave way to anger. "Human, you command one ship." "I command 300. Surrender now, and I may allow your crew to live as slaves." Martinez smiled, and there was something in that smile that made Kethmore uncomfortable. "Admiral, you should have done your research before coming here. You should have asked what happened to the last alien empire that tried to conquer Earth. There was no previous empire. Your species has never faced a power like ours." "No," Martinez agreed. "But we found the wreckage of one that tried to fight you. The Kethari left us a gift before you destroyed them. They left us the tools to make sure no other species would ever suffer as they did." Kethmore's blood turned cold. The Kethari had been the Empire's greatest enemy, a species that had fought them to mutual destruction centuries ago. If the humans had somehow recovered Kethari technology— "Impossible," he whispered. "You want to test that theory?" Martinez asked. "Or would you prefer to turn around and leave our space while you still can?" Lieutenant Commander Jake Phillips, the Titan's weapons officer, reported quietly to his captain. "All weapon systems are online, Captain. The gravitational cannon is charged and ready." Commander Beth Walker at the helm added her own report. "We're in position, Captain. Optimal firing solution is locked in." Martinez looked back at the alien admiral on her screen. "This is your last chance to leave peacefully." "What's it going to be?" Kethmore's pride wouldn't let him back down. The idea of retreating from a single human ship was unthinkable. "All ships, open fire! Destroy that vessel." "You made the wrong choice," Martinez said calmly, then turned to her crew. "All hands, battle stations. Activate defensive grid. Prepare to return fire." The Zephyrian fleet unleashed hell itself. 300 ships fired at once, filling space with antimatter torpedoes and plasma beams. The barrage was enough to destroy a small moon. Energy weapons that could melt cities converged on the Titan's position. The explosion could be seen from Earth, a new star blazing in the darkness. When the light faded, Admiral Kethmore expected to see empty space and floating debris. Instead, the human ship hung in space exactly where it had been. Its hull gleamed like new metal. "It hadn't even been scratched. How?" Kethmore whispered. Captain Martinez appeared on his screen again. "Kethari phase shift technology. Your weapons passed right through us. Our turn." She turned to her weapons officer. "Mr. Phillips, return fire. Show them what happens when you threaten Earth." Lieutenant Commander Jake Phillips had trained for this moment his entire adult life. He sat at the weapons console of the UES Titan, his hands steady on controls that could reshape reality itself. Around him, the bridge was calm despite the battle raging outside. "Firing gravitational cannon," Phillips announced. The Titan's main weapon drew power directly from the controlled black hole at the ship's heart. Space itself twisted as concentrated gravity was formed into a projectile and launched at the enemy fleet. The gravitational round moved faster than light, warping space-time around it. The target was a Zephyrian heavy cruiser, one of their most powerful warships. The gravity projectile struck the vessel and reality simply stopped making sense. The cruiser didn't explode. It didn't break apart. It ceased to exist. The massive alien ship was pulled into a point smaller than an atom and then erased from the universe entirely. The surrounding space rippled like water, and nearby Zephyrian vessels fled in panic as their sensors could no longer detect any trace that the cruiser had ever existed. Admiral Kethmore stared at his tactical display in horror. One of his best ships was simply gone. Not destroyed, not disabled, but removed from existence. His computers couldn't even remember its name. "What kind of weapon was that?" he demanded. His science officer was trembling. "Admiral, they weaponized gravity itself. They fired a miniature black hole at our ship. That's not just advanced technology, that's impossible technology." Captain Martinez watched the enemy fleet's reaction from her command chair. The aliens were scattering, no longer maintaining their perfect attack formation. Fear was spreading through their ranks like a virus. "Commander Walker, take us into the middle of their formation," she ordered. Beth Walker, the Titan's helmsman, smiled grimly. "Yes, ma'am." Setting course for the center of their fleet, the massive human Dreadnought began to move. Despite its enormous size, the ship danced through space with impossible grace. The Kethari had built their vessels to be works of art as well as instruments of war. "Mr. Phillips, pick your targets carefully," Martinez commanded. "I want them to understand what they're facing, but I don't want to massacre them if we don't have to." Phillips nodded. "Targeting their command ship's weapon systems only, Captain." The gravitational cannon fired again. This time, instead of erasing an entire vessel, it carefully removed just the weapon arrays from Admiral Kethmore's flagship. The alien admiral watched in amazement as his ship's massive gun turrets simply vanished, leaving perfectly smooth hull where they had been attached. "How are they doing that?" Kethmore whispered. On the Titan's bridge, Dr. Amy Foster was monitoring the battle from her science station. "Captain, the Kethari programmed their weapons with surgical precision capabilities. We can remove specific parts of enemy ships without harming the crew." "Excellent. Phillips, disable their engines next. Let's make sure they can't run away." The Titan moved through the Zephyrian fleet like a predator among sheep. Each shot from its gravitational cannon removed another piece of an enemy vessel. Engines vanished. Weapon systems disappeared. Shield generators ceased to exist. The aliens could only watch helplessly as their mighty fleet was systematically dismantled. Commander Ryan Clark monitored the ship's systems from the engineering station. "Captain, the Singularity Core is operating perfectly. We can keep this up indefinitely." Martinez nodded. The human ship was powered by technology that made fusion reactors look like campfires. The controlled black hole at its heart provided virtually unlimited energy. Admiral Kethmore tried desperately to contact Emperor Vextar aboard the Imperial flagship. When the Emperor's crystal form appeared on his screen, Kethmore could barely speak. "Your Imperial Majesty, the humans have a weapon that defies all known physics. They're destroying our fleet with single shots." Emperor Vextar observed the battle through quantum sensors. He watched the human ship move through his greatest fleet, watched his most powerful vessels being reduced to helpless hulks. For the first time in his 3,000-year reign, he felt genuine fear. "How many ships have we lost?" the Emperor asked. 12 destroyed completely, sir. 47 disabled. The human ship is unstoppable." The Emperor's crystal form pulsed with dark energy. "This is impossible. Humans are primitive. They use metal projectiles and chemical rockets." "Not anymore, sir. They have technology that's beyond our understanding." Back on the Titan, Captain Martinez received an urgent message from Admiral Morrison aboard the Emperor's flagship. Her communications officer looked worried as he relayed the transmission. "Captain, Admiral Morrison reports that the Emperor is threatening to execute all human hostages in retaliation for our attack." Martinez felt her blood turn cold. Morrison and his delegation were trapped aboard the alien flagship, surrounded by enemies who might kill them out of spite. She had to choose between saving them and protecting her ship. Dr. Foster approached the captain's chair. "There might be a way, Captain. The Kethari technology includes a short-range teleportation system. We could extract the hostages directly from the alien ship." "What's the catch?" Martinez asked. "Using the teleporter will reveal our full technological capabilities to the aliens. Right now, they think we only have advanced weapons. If we show them we have transportation technology too, they'll understand just how much Kethari science we've recovered." Martinez looked around her bridge. These people had followed her into the most dangerous battle in human history. They trusted her to make the right decisions. But how could she weigh the lives of a few against the survival of their entire species? Commander Walker spoke up from the helm. "Captain, if we save Admiral Morrison, we show the aliens that humans don't abandon their own. Maybe that's worth the risk." Phillips added his voice from weapons control. "We've already shown them our defensive and offensive capabilities. What's one more system?" Martinez made her decision. "Dr. Foster, activate the teleportation system. Get our people back." The Titan's hull began to glow with golden energy as the Kethari teleporter powered up. Aboard the Emperor's flagship, Admiral Morrison felt a strange tingling sensation just as alien guards moved to arrest him. A beam of light surrounded the human delegation, and they vanished from the alien ship. Seconds later, they materialized on the Titan's bridge in a cascade of golden particles. Emperor Vextar stared at the empty space where his prisoners had been. The humans had technology that could transport people through solid matter across vast distances. They weren't just advanced, they were using science that his empire had never even imagined. For the first time in millennia, a Zephyrian emperor was afraid. Emperor Vextar stood in his throne room aboard the Imperial flagship, watching his greatest fleet being destroyed by a single human vessel. The crystalline walls around him pulsed with angry red light, reflecting his growing panic. In 3,000 years of rule, he had never faced anything like this. How many ships remain operational? He demanded of his advisors. General Morthak, his chief military commander, consulted a holographic display. Fewer than 200, Your Imperial Majesty. The human vessel has disabled or destroyed over 1/3 of our fleet. Our remaining ships are maintaining distance, but they're afraid to engage. The Emperor's crystal form flared brighter. Afraid Zephyrian warriors do not know fear. They do now, sir, General Morthak replied quietly. They've watched their strongest vessels vanish from existence. They've seen weapons that make no sense. Morale is collapsing. Admiral Morrison materialized on the Titan's bridge in a shower of golden light, along with Dr. Rachel Green and Ambassador Peter Wells. The human delegation looked around in amazement at the advanced alien technology that now served their species. Admiral, Captain Martinez said, rising from her command chair. Welcome aboard the Titan. I'm sorry we couldn't extract you sooner. Morrison shook his head. You did exactly what you needed to do, Captain. How's the battle going? Lieutenant Commander Phillips reported from his weapons station. We've eliminated their ability to threaten Earth, sir. Most of their ships are dead in space. The rest are keeping their distance. Dr. Green was staring at the bridge displays, her scientist's mind trying to process what she was seeing. Lisa, this technology is incredible. How did we build all this? Dr. Amy Foster stepped forward. We didn't build it, Rachel. We found it. 15 years ago, a deep space probe discovered a derelict vessel in the outer system. It belonged to a species called the Kethari. I've never heard of them, Ambassador Wells said. Because the Zephyrians wiped them out, Foster explained. But before they died, the Kethari designed technology specifically to counter the Empire's weapons. They left it for someone else to find. Back on the Emperor's flagship, science advisor Velthar was studying the human vessel's capabilities. What he discovered made his crystalline heart grow cold. Your Imperial Majesty, I believe I understand what we're facing. The human ship incorporates Kethari technology. Emperor Vexitar turned his full attention to the scientist. That's impossible. We destroyed every trace of their civilization. Apparently not, sir. The humans have somehow recovered a Kethari vessel and reverse-engineered their science. That explains the gravitational weapons, the phase shift defenses, and the teleportation system. The Emperor's form dimmed with dread. The Kethari had been the Empire's greatest enemy, a species that had fought them to mutual destruction. Their technology was specifically designed to counter Zephyrian advantages. If the humans have Kethari science, they could share it with other species, General Morthak realized. Every world we've conquered could turn against us. On the Titan's bridge, Captain Martinez was making exactly that calculation. She looked at Admiral Morrison. Sir, Dr. Foster has identified 12 species in this galaxy with the technological base to integrate Kethari systems into their own ships. Morrison smiled grimly. Species that are currently under Zephyrian rule? Yes, sir. We've been in secret contact with resistance movements on several worlds. They're waiting for a sign that the Empire can be defeated. Commander Clark spoke up from the engineering station. Captain, we're receiving multiple transmissions from across the galaxy. Word of our battle is spreading. Resistance groups are asking if the reports are true. Martinez looked around her bridge. They had come here to save Earth, but they might have sparked something much larger. What do you think, Admiral? Do we answer them? Morrison considered the question carefully. The Empire rules through fear. They make everyone believe resistance is hopeless, but we just proved that wrong. Dr. Foster had been monitoring alien communications during the battle. Captain, I'm picking up transmissions from the Zephyrian fleet. They're reporting to their home worlds that humans have Kethari technology. How are they reacting? Martinez asked. Panic, absolute panic. Some of their subject worlds are already declaring independence. Emperor Vextar received these reports with growing horror. Worlds that had been loyal for centuries were suddenly in rebellion. The mere news that Kethari technology still existed was causing his empire to fracture. "Your Imperial Majesty," Admiral Kethmore called from his disabled flagship. "The human captain is requesting to speak with you directly." The Emperor's pride rebelled against the idea of negotiating with a primitive species. But his survival instincts were stronger. "Put her through." Captain Martinez appeared on the Emperor's main screen. Behind her, Admiral Morrison stood with the rest of the human delegation. They looked calm and confident, not like representatives of a defeated species. "Emperor Vexistar," Martinez said formally, "I believe we need to talk. You have destroyed my fleet, human. What more do you want? I want you to leave our space and never return. I want you to recognize Earth's independence. And I want you to release every enslaved world in your empire." The Emperor's crystal form flared with anger. "You make demands of me? I could order the bombardment of your world right now." Martinez smiled calmly. "With what ships? Most of your fleet is disabled. The rest are too afraid to fight. And even if you could hurt Earth, how many other worlds would rise up while you're distracted?" Dr. Foster stepped forward. "Your Imperial Majesty, we've been monitoring communications across the galaxy. 17 worlds have already declared independence since news of this battle spread. More are following every hour." Emperor Vextar realized he was facing a choice between negotiation and the complete collapse of his empire. The humans had done more than defeat his fleet. They had given hope to every oppressed world in the galaxy. "What are your terms?" he asked, the words bitter in his crystalline throat. Admiral Morrison spoke up. "Complete withdrawal from human space, recognition of Earth as a sovereign world, cessation of all attacks on species seeking independence, and the establishment of formal diplomatic relations." "And if I refuse?" Captain Martinez gestured to her weapons officer. "Then we continue this demonstration until you change your mind. We have unlimited power and weapons that can reach any target in the galaxy, but we'd prefer to solve this peacefully." The Emperor looked around his throne room at his advisors. Their crystal faces reflected the same conclusion he had reached. The age of Zephyrian supremacy was over. "I need time to consider your terms," he said finally. "You have 1 hour," Martinez replied. "After that, we start visiting other Zephyrian fleets to deliver the same message." The transmission ended, leaving Emperor Vextar alone with the ruins of his certainty. Outside his flagship, a single human ship hung in space like a sword hanging over his empire's throat. Emperor Vextar sat alone in his throne room, surrounded by the greatest defeat in Zephyrian history. His advisors had fled to their quarters, unable to face the reality of their situation. Outside, his once mighty fleet drifted helplessly in space, proof that the Empire's 3,000-year reign was ending. The hour that Captain Martinez had given him was almost up. Through his quantum sensors, he could see the human Dreadnought hanging in space like a monument to his failure. The Titan's hull gleamed with alien technology that his empire had tried and failed to destroy centuries ago. General Morthak entered the throne room hesitantly. "Your Imperial Majesty, we're receiving reports from across the Empire. 43 worlds have declared independence. More are joining them every hour." The Emperor's crystal form pulsed with dim light. "How many fleets remain loyal?" "Approximately 60%, sir. But morale is collapsing everywhere. Our commanders are asking if the humans really have unlimited ships with this technology." Vextar knew the truth. If the humans could build one ship using Kethari science, they could build 100. 1,000. His empire could not survive a war against technology that had nearly destroyed them once before. "Open a channel to the human vessel," he commanded. On the Titan's bridge, Captain Martinez received the Emperor's call with mixed feelings. She had hoped for a peaceful resolution, but she was prepared for continued fighting if necessary. "Emperor Vextar," she said formally, "have you reached a decision?" The alien ruler's image appeared on her main screen. His crystal form looked dimmer than before, as if the light inside him was fading. "Captain Martinez, I accept your terms. The Zephyrian Empire will withdraw from human space and recognize Earth's sovereignty." Admiral Morrison stepped forward. "And the other conditions?" "The Empire will cease military operations against worlds seeking independence. We will establish diplomatic relations with Earth, but I cannot simply release every world in our territory. The Empire would collapse into chaos." Dr. Amy Foster had been monitoring galactic communications throughout the negotiation. "Actually, Your Imperial Majesty, it's already happening. We're tracking independence movements on over 200 worlds. Ambassador Wells spoke up. Perhaps we could help manage the transition. Earth has experience with peaceful independence movements. Emperor Vextar realized he was being offered something unexpected, a way to save face while his empire crumbled around him. What do you propose? Captain Martinez looked at her fellow humans, then back at the alien emperor. A gradual transition to independence for worlds that want it. Earth will provide technical assistance and mediation. The Empire keeps the worlds that choose to stay loyal. And the Kethari technology? Dr. Foster answered that question. We'll share defensive systems with worlds that need protection from outside threats. But the weapons technology stays with Earth and our allies. The Emperor understood the message. Earth was offering to become the galaxy's protector instead of its conqueror. It was a role his empire had failed to fill properly. I agree to these terms, Vextar said finally, but I want a formal treaty. Something that will last. 6 months later, Admiral Lisa Martinez stood on the bridge of the UES Titan as it patrolled the edges of human space. She wore the uniform of Earth's first admiral of the fleet, commander of humanity's growing star navy. The Terran Accords had been signed on a neutral space station, with representatives from dozens of species witnessing the ceremony. The treaty had created the Free Worlds Alliance, a voluntary organization of independent planets dedicated to mutual defense and peaceful cooperation. Commander Ryan Clark approached her with the day's reports. Admiral, construction is proceeding on schedule. The UES Liberty should be completed within 2 months. Martinez nodded. The Liberty was the second ship in Earth's new fleet, incorporating both Kethari technology and human innovations. 4 more dreadnoughts were being built in hidden shipyards throughout the outer system. Any word from the Centauri colonies? She asked. They've successfully integrated the defensive systems we provided. The Rigel Republic is requesting similar assistance for their border worlds. Dr. Foster, now Earth's Director of Alien Technology Research, joined them on the bridge. Admiral, we've had a breakthrough with the Kethari archives. They left detailed plans for terraforming systems and medical technology. Good news for our new allies, Martinez replied. What about the Zephyrians? Emperor Vextar has been true to his word. They've withdrawn from all the contested systems and haven't interfered with any independence movements. Martinez looked out at the stars through the Titan's main view screen. 6 months ago, Earth had been a primitive world facing extinction. Now humanity was the foundation of a new galactic order, based on freedom rather than conquest. Lieutenant Commander Phillips reported from his station. Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the Andromedan border. The exploration fleet has made contact with a previously unknown species. Friendly contact, I hope? Yes, ma'am. They're requesting Earth's assistance with a territorial dispute against an aggressive neighbor. Martinez smiled. This was exactly what the Kethari had hoped for when they left their technology to be found. They had created the tools to build a better galaxy, and humanity had proven worthy of using them. Plot a course for the Andromedan sector, she commanded. Let's go remind the galaxy that the strong should protect the weak, not prey on them. The UES Titan turned toward open space, carrying Earth's promise to a universe that had almost forgotten what justice looked like. Behind them, 5 new human dreadnoughts neared completion in Earth's shipyards. Ahead of them, countless worlds looked to the stars with hope instead of fear. The Galactic Empire had stared in horror at humanity's dreadnought, but from that horror had emerged something the universe hadn't seen in millennia, a chance for real peace. The age of empires built on fear was ending. The age of alliances built on hope was just beginning. Commander Beth Walker set their course for the unknown, just as humanity had always done. They were explorers and protectors now, carrying the light of freedom to every dark corner of the galaxy. Emperor Vextar, watching from his reduced empire, realized that humanity had accomplished something his species never could. They had turned victory into wisdom, and strength into service. Perhaps that was why the Kethari had chosen them to carry their legacy forward. The stars belonged to everyone now, not just the strong. And Earth stood ready to make sure it stayed that way.